Talkline Network Radio, America's longest-running Jewish broadcast network, the voice of the Jewish community.
Welcome to the podcast. You are now tuned in to this episode of our podcast. Today, we are going to interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in our field. And now, please welcome your host.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And we're back. You know, it's not too early to start thinking about Passover. Yes, I know we're not even at the Hanukkah yet and we have time, but it's not too early to get yourself plans for the Pesach vacation. It's like a big highlight of the year. And our guest, his family started the whole innovation of going away for Passover. 1958, his father started leisure time tours, started Yeshiva University tours, and a morph where they're the first ones to begin to rent out and to get beautiful non-kosher facilities all year round, make it kosher for Passover. And now they're the largest Passover operator with over 6 hotels for the Passover holiday. Rabbi Frucher joins us. So thank you for being part of our special show, Looking at Pesach.
Thanks, Zev.
Thank you. So I love this story because in 1958, they didn't really have what today, some say it's $1 billion industry, certainly hundreds of millions of dollars that are spent in going away for the Passover holiday. 1958, your father started travel, kosher travel, and eventually, as I said, rented out hotels for use for kosher consumers. How did he come up with the idea?
So it actually, the first non-kosher hotel made kosher for Pesach was 1972. But my father was, he went to Yeshiva University and he had a lot of connections. So, you know, when he actually was out of college, he was a youth director in Stamford, Connecticut. And he started, after a couple of years of that, where he couldn't, you know, kind of make a living, he started Yeshiva University tours, which basically took college-age kids to Israel and Europe for 2 months. So that's how we started in the tour operation business, and from there he started doing 55 and over tours to Israel for a month. We had a monthly departure on El Al, and all year round, and you know, we moved a lot of people, you know, to Israel, and he also did groups and JCCs and shuls and all that going to Israel, and from there, you know, Pesach happened, as I said, in 1972. So you ask how did it all come about? He had a meeting at one of his hotels in Netanya. It was called the Blue Bay Hotel. It's actually still there. And the GM, general manager of the hotel, said, you know, Danny, I'm not going to be here any longer. I'm becoming a general manager of a hotel in Miami Beach. So my father said, wow, Miami Beach, you know, which hotel? And he told him it's called the Allison Hotel. It's on like 60-something street and Collins Avenue. And my father said, you know, oh, how does that, what happens at that hotel during Pesach, you know, during April? And the guy says to him, you know, the hotel's dead. And my father said, you know, how would you like to have a Pesach program there? And the guy said, sure. And that's how basically he started the Pesach industry. Yeah.
Wow. Now, you mentioned Miami Beach. I know it used to be a very big destination for Passover. Now, I think it's every place almost, but very little happening in Miami Beach. It happens every place else. In fact, full disclosure, I went to some of your program, including Miami Beach. Excellent program, by the way. I enjoyed it immensely. but Miami Beach fell out of favor. What happened?
I don't think it really, well, when you say it fell out of favor, what happened was um, less and less hotel. Well, yeah, I mean, less and hotels wanted to do Pesach programs, so you had, I mean, we did the Eden Rock for 15 years, and as the hotel was sold and as more and more money was pumped in, the hotel eventually said, we don't need Passover anymore. So, that's where it ended. And, in the 70s, we did the Fontainebleau Hotel. But same story, they don't need Pesach. So there are many, well, let's put it this way, Zev. It's very, very difficult to get a hotel in the U.S. That's willing to do a Passover program.
Why is that? Because you seem to be a lot more amenable. What's the reason?
The reason is, they don't. Most of the high-end hotels, the good hotels, they don't need it. They do well without it. And as a matter of fact, Pesach, obviously, it comes with, there's a lot of strings attached to a Pesach program. So, besides the fact that you need to, knock out their kitchen usage, way before Pesach. And, there's a lot of things, obviously, we need, from a Pesach program that it's just, it's a lot for them, and they don't want to, the better hotels don't want to turn their entire operation, upside down, in order to accommodate a Pesach program. And that's pretty much the bottom line. A lot of the hotels, will basically, say, okay, if you're willing to pay us, through the nose an exorbitant amount of money, we'll run, we'll let you run a Pesach program, and obviously from a price standpoint, it's just, it's out of sorts. So, it's just very, very hard, to get a good hotel today, and start doing a Pesach program in the U.S. That's why, honestly, there's so many programs that, opened up in Mexico, because, there's a plethora of beautiful resort hotels, and, they're all competing for the market. So they're willing to, do more, vis-a-vis, knocking out their space and their kitchens and all that earlier. So that's why there's so many there.
But you have, again, as I mentioned, you are the largest running of operations for Passover. You have some beautiful resorts. Let's take Tampa, Florida. You have Saddlebrook Resort. They just spent $92 million renovating it. So you were able to get some really top quality properties for your Pesach programs.
Yeah, I mean, that's this is going to be our first year there. Our partner there, who's Costa Rica, they did a program there in 2024. But then they stopped because the hotel was not in great condition. And now that they did this renovation, it's beautiful and it's a great property. So yeah, I mean, we actually, signed a long-term contract with them to do Pesach. So we're quite lucky.
And so tell us about this particular resort. It looks gorgeous from what I'm looking at some of the pictures right now.
Yeah, I mean, actually, this hotel, besides their golf courses, the beautiful pool, all that, they're known for their tennis center. They actually have I think it's 45 tennis courts. They actually are famous for, over the years. Jim Courier was trained there. A lot of major tennis players trained over there, because they're one of the only properties or any tennis centers that actually have all three surfaces. So they not only have hard true courts, but they also have grass and they also have clay. So it's very unique insofar as that, and that's why a lot of professionals train there.
Now, you also have some other places. I mentioned Tampa, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Cambridge, Maryland. You're also in Italy, in Palm Beach, Florida, Long Branch, New Jersey. Our guest is Robert Frucher, CEO of Leisure Time Tours. They began in 1958. They invented going away to beautiful resorts for the Passover holiday. What is your favorite resort? How do you pick? Let me ask this question. You have 6 great places where to go. How do you decide for your family where you're going to be for Pesach?
Well, it's not really for my family. It's really,
Well, you're working, I know.
right. I decide where to go, where I need to be. So, for instance, last year, I was at the one in Phoenix, the Hilton Phoenix Tapatia Resort, because I felt we did that program. We first started it in 2023. Um, then and then we didn't do it in 24, but we came back in 25. So, and we also have a long-term contract there. So it's a big program. It's a phenomenal hotel for a Pesach program. Just the whole layout. People loved it in 20. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I think it was 2023. People loved it in 2023, and they loved it last year. So that's where I decided I needed to be. And this year I will be at the Saddlebrook Resort because I am leaving the Arizona hotel in very good hands with Tamar Sofer and Carly Chesner. They'll be operating. They'll be the site managers there, and I'm going to be moving to the Saddlebrook Resort because that's where I feel I need to be this year.
Now, what happens when people call up? Because you have a lot of choices. Most operators have 1, maybe 2 choices to go for Passover. Somebody calls up on the phone, Robert, I want to go away for Pesach. Where should I go? How do you guide them?
Well,
You must get that question, I'm sure.
Where should I go? So, look, I always tell everybody, we don't put people into a hotel. They decide where they want to go. So, obviously we'll talk, a lot of people, not a lot, but we do get the person that says, please send me a quote for Tampa, Arizona, Sicily, and New Jersey. You can't obviously want all 4 hotels. So I usually say, we usually, or my people usually try to narrow it down to, where are you, where do you really feel like you need to be or want to be, or your family wants to be. And that's what we, that's how we guide them. But obviously each one of our properties is quite unique in terms of locations. So, we really feel we have, wide offerings. So, we're pretty much, I like to think that, we have hotels in the locations that people want to go to.
Well, I would assume that, for example, you have the Ocean Place Resort in Long Branch, New Jersey. Somebody who wants to be near the metropolitan New York area, or may even want to go to work, would probably go there, similar to what you have in Cambridge, Maryland, the Hyatt Regency, Sheepshead Bay Resort. Again, people who may live nearby and want to be able to go to work and not have to travel by plane.
Let me just correct you. Not Sheepshead Bay.
I meant Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah, Sheepshead Bay.
You can tell I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn.
And we're not offering any hotel for Pesach in Brooklyn. That I can assure you, Sam.
Right. I could imagine you're high end, but you make it convenient. And then those the one exotic. To me, I think I love the Sicily, the Italian. I think Italy is a wonderful. I was there for Pesach one time. Is a wonderful destination to go for the holiday.
Yeah, listen, I could tell you right now that property, it's called the Vidura. It is a Rocco Forte hotel. So people that know hotels well in Europe they certainly know the name, Rocco Forte Hotels. It's a high-end brand, and it's an extremely unique property. I mean, it's on. The hotel itself is only 203 rooms. So it's quite concise, but their landmass It's actually, if you go on their website, it's on 253 hectares. They use hectares instead of acres in Europe. If you put that into Google, I think it's like 685 acres.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
they originally told me they think it's the size of Central Park, but I checked that out, and I think Central Park is still bigger than that. But it's you can, they have bicycles that they give out. You can ride all around the hotel's pathways, which are paved, and it will take you, I don't know, it'll take you a nice 45 minutes, easily, to go all around their property, because they have multiple golf courses. And it's just they have a gorgeous stretch of coastline in Sicily. So it's quite a unique property. I've been there multiple times, and people are calling me because they said, "Oh, I heard of that property," or I was there a bunch of years ago. It's magnificent, that type of thing. So we're very happy to have that property. And if everybody really enjoys the hotel of the Pesach, we're going to operate that hotel also for Sukkot.
Great choice. Let me ask you this question. Since 1973, your company's been there in the forefront of the Pesach business, and there have been many operators that have been operating in that course of time, but most of them, you won't find them around today. What is the key to your success, to your longevity, that not only are you there, but you're the biggest operator, that you have 6 properties? Nobody else has 6 properties for the Passover holiday.
Look, the number one thing obviously is satisfying the customers. So thank God, over our long history, we've satisfied the customers. So they've come back. I mean, we have families with us. I mean, 25 consecutive Pesachs. I mean, it's remarkable. I've had I have families that this is going to be our 17th year at the PGA, and they started year 1, so they've come to that hotel 17 consecutive years.
Wow,
Or
amazing.
there will be this year. Now you're going to say to me, Robert, why would anybody want to go back to the same hotel 17 consecutive years? And I'm going to tell you, different strokes for different folks. So you have families that they love it. They're used to it. This is where my family wants to be, that we don't even want to try any other hotel. We'll go in the summertime someplace, but for Pesach, we want to be here. And they go. And, then we have families, hey, we want to go to a new hotel, every single year. We want to try out all different places. And we have those type of customers. So, that's why we offer, we have a wide offerings that people can also try different areas. So
Now, you have different strokes for different folks, but we haven't discussed yet, and I know I've been on a couple of your programs, the food. The food is something which also is a draw. Tell us about the food.
So look, I always have said, you can take the nicest Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton, I don't care what brand of hotel, but if that food isn't up to snuff, you have nothing. So the food, obviously, for Pesach programs, the program runs on its belly. So, if you put out and mind you, I'll even go the flip side, Zeb, because you remember the days of the Crown and the Saxony. So
Sure, but the hotels weren't great, but the food was good.
exactly. So they used to that's how they filled their hotel by there were 2 and 3 star properties, but they gave people decent food, so people came back. So that's really the name of the game. And obviously Pesach has immorphed many folds. So obviously the entertainment and the speakers and the decor and you name it, you know, as the kosher or the Glock kosher traveler has, their tastes have obviously have been raised, over the years. Subsequently, what we have to put out is, has matched that. So, even when you go to kosher restaurants today, Zev, it's not like, the kosher restaurants of 25 years ago. So, all the levels, have changed. And the same thing, with the weddings and the bar mitzvahs, everything has gone up, exponentially. So,
No,
you
and
know,
the same thing with kosher wines. The kosher palate has really expanded tremendously over the course of time. So how does it work? How do you know to put which entertainment, put which hotels, which speakers, which chefs?
so, we're lucky enough with the entertainment where, we can book, an entertainer, and move them between all of our properties. So, this year there's, you have 3 nights of shows.
So who do you
And
have this year?
Zev, I actually have to go on my website to check it out.
No,
But
it's hard to keep track of all
I
6.
know we have, I know we have Tal Vaknin, who's an amazing Israeli singer, at 3 of our properties. He's blown up, especially over, unfortunately, the course of the war, because he's one of the singers that would entertain the troops and go to different bases, and that's what he was known for. So, we've had him now, I want to say, for the last 3 or 4 years, that we've used him, and the people love his show. And Guy Bobley, and I mean, Elon Gold, we've used many,
Yeah,
many
he's
times.
terrific.
Yeah, 100%. Modi, I could tell you, I'm going to use the words we used to use, because when I started using Modi, Zev, you'll get a kick, or actually everyone will get a kick out of this. We started with Modi in the Nevele Hotel, and we paid him $1,800 for a show. So his number has gone has gone into, the stratosphere. And so every year I used to make a deal with him, but I think it was, I want to say, last year or the year before, he said to me, Robert, you now have to call CAA. If you know what CAA is, they're a
Talent agency.
yeah, they're a very, very well known talent agency in Hollywood. And I told him, I said, Modi, I go, if you're asking me to call CAA now to book you, I know I can't afford you anymore. So
What did
so
he say to that?
yeah, he said to me, Robert, I think you're right. So, obviously we can't afford to spend $100,000 on a show, or we'd be out of business, wouldn't we?
Right.
So,
But how has
yeah,
the price of food affected your program? Because the price has really gone up.
yeah, yeah. I don't have to tell you, but like, you go into any supermarket, or kosher supermarket, certainly, yeah, the prices, everyone knows it's gone up a lot, especially since COVID. So, unfortunately, yeah, I mean, we have to charge a lot more money than we used to, and labor has gone up through the roof. So, our biggest cost, I want to say, obviously, besides the hotel, our number one cost is labor. Right behind it is raw food, the raw food costs, and then comes everything else. So,
it's a big it's a big operation. When do you start working on Pesach?
we start working on Pesach.
The day after the
Start
holiday?
Well, actually, I take that back. We start working on the next year way before, even the start of the season. So I'm already working, while we're doing Pesach 2026. I'm already working on 27 and 28.
Wow.
So we're always working on Pesach.
So it's not too early to start thinking Passover, start booking for your Pesach vacation, start getting the family together, because it's a time when families do spend the holiday together as well. If people want to learn more, and again, you're the granddaddy of the Pesach program, 6 fantastic programs, 5 in the United States, 1 in Italy. If people want to learn more, be in contact with Leisure Time Tours, how can they do so?
Well, first thing I always tell people, go on our website. So our website, which is leisuretimetours.com, LEISURETIMETOURS. And the S is not for savings, just a joke, Zach.
S is for service.
S is for service. S is for satisfaction. I can keep on going on with the S's, but
and of course the Essen.
Exactly. But on our website, everything is there because we put our pricing up. We're very, very transparent, so our pricing is right there. So everyone could see it, and they know what they're looking for, what the expectation level is when they go on our website, where we have our entertainment already there and our speakers, and we pretty much it's a pretty comprehensive website. And then they call us. I mean, we're on the phone constantly.
And what's the phone number for people to contact you?
718-528-0700.
One more time. Oh, Tom.
718-528-0700.
Robert Frucher, CEO of Leisure Time Tours, the leader in kosher Passover vacations, and now also for Sukkot. Thank you for joining us. Looking forward to having you back in, and keep on really putting out quality Pesach programs.
Thanks so much, Zev. Appreciate the time.
Thank you for tuning in to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast, the pulse beat of the Jewish community.
For continuous Jewish programs, TalklineNetwork.com, or our 24-hour-a-day listen line at 641-741-0389. For past shows, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Instagram, and all major podcast platforms, or jewishpodcast.org. Thanks for listening to the TalklineNetwork.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.